It's not Motown Monday today because I have a guest in studio. And, you know, when you hear the different music, you know, this is a talking show. So my guest today, got your headsets on?
Yes,
Put them
do.
both on.
Yes, I do.
I have the young and talented Will Nieves. Let me tell you how I know Will Nieves. Because his parents, Anna and Bill, work at Amoy's. And so, I hang out at Amoy's. That's my spot. And, you know, you get to know people and you get to know their children and all this other kind of stuff. And I find out he is studying to be a pilot. I had no idea. I don't know what that requires or what it takes, how he found out. But I sat down and I chatted with him and I really enjoyed the story. So y'all sit down and turn your radios up and you'll hear this. And whoever works with youth serving organizations, this might be something you want to know about if you don't already know it, on how to get young people into flying, because it just never crossed my mind, Will. So, hello.
How you doing? First off, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Lovebabz Lovetalk on 103.5 FM WNHH. Oh yeah, people, we're live streaming on New Haven Independent, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you can see people. So, hey.
So, this all started for me when I was about 8 years old. My grandfather used to take me to Tweed New Haven Regional Airport, you know, to watch the planes take off and land for, you know, countless amount of hours. And I was just so fascinated by how gravity works, just how much of a miracle it was for these massive pieces of machinery to lift up off the ground and land so gracefully. I always wanted, since I was a little kid, to be a pilot. So he pretty much planted that seed into me as a little kid. I always looked into it. I wanted to wear the uniform pridefully, you know, the jacket with the stripes and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So recently I found a local flight school. It was American Flight Academy that was associated with Tweed Airport. I went over with my parents and talked to the gentleman.
And how old were you at this point?
This point, this was actually about 3 years ago.
Okay. Because how old are you now?
I turned 24.
Yeah, because you're young.
October. Yeah, I'm pretty young.
Where'd you go to high school?
Hyde Leadership High School.
Okay. All right. So you have this dream of being a pilot ever since when you were little. You go over to you go to Tweed. They have a flight school connected to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your parents walk you over, and then what happens?
Well, they signed me up for an introductory flight. Well, if you're not familiar with what an introductory flight is, it's usually when it's the student's first flight to make sure that this is really what they want to do. They go up with the instructor. They do some basic maneuvers and some turns and ascending and descending maneuvers. So what it is to see your reaction, make sure you don't freak out behind the controls and start screaming and yelling and, I don't know, get motion sickness and throw up all over the place. They want to make sure you remain cool, calm, and collected.
I like that.
Behind the controls. But all it did for me was boost my motivation. Like, heck yeah, you know, I'm definitely going to pursue this as a career. All
right. So from that day on, so what happens after that day? You just like, hey, this is really what I want to do.
Yes. So it pretty much got caught what they say, the flying bug. And I mean, every time I walk down the street and I see an airplane overhead, I stop everything I'm doing and I look up to the sky.
Oh.
Every airport, every time I drive by, through New York around the Hudson Parkway, and you see JFK in Newark, you see those jets taking off. I'm always just fascinated.
So how long does it take to get your license? Like, tell me the steps. So you go, you sign up.
You can fly as much as 2 to 3 times a week, depending on your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Your private pilot license, on average, depending on the location of the school, it can run you about $10,000
Whoa.
just for your private alone, and there are multiple steps after which.
So this is not cheap. You have to be
It's not
you have
cheap.
to be doggone serious about this.
Yeah, I know this is what I want to do. So every dime I make, and I'm thankful to be under the roof of my parents. And
Uh-huh.
they always told me, as long as you're doing what you're doing and in school and staying positive, you won't have to worry about a mortgage payment or anything like that. So I am still living under my parents. This is the only way that I can make this dream a reality.
Mm-hmm. So you're paying for this out of your pocket,
Yes.
and you've been paying for this for how long?
About almost a year and a half now,
Uh-huh.
and I'm about the $9,000 mark out of pocket.
Whoa. That's pretty good though.
Yeah, I've been persistent. And
Like some people want cars, you want a plane.
yeah, the license.
You want your license.
I just want my dream to come true. That's all it is. Yep.
But you're close to it, right?
I am very close, and it's been a humbling experience. It's something to look forward to. I usually go up out flying on the weekends,
Mm-hmm.
for a couple hours, and it's
Are you
just
flying by yourself these days, or you still have the instructor?
certain requirements will require an instructor, but I have fulfilled all my solo time requirements already for this first license that I am pursuing.
Okay. So how many licenses do you need?
So first, I'm going after the private, so that's one.
Okay.
You need it's an instrument rating add-on, which allows you to fly in bad weather, above the clouds, or in the clouds. So it's like you rely solely on your instruments. It's pretty much if you close your eyes, you're just flying, and you just you can't see anything.
That would be a no, Will. That would be a no.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. I wish everybody can experience something like that. But then the next step after that would be your commercial license.
Okay, and that's what you want too. You want that too?
That's my ultimate goal.
Okay.
My commercial pilot license.
Because you want to fly the big birds.
Yes.
Okay. Whew. So why not the military?
Well,
I'm not advocating for the military. I've
Right.
seen Top Gun like everybody else,
That's one of my favorites. Word from word, I know that movie. Well, I talked to it with my parents, and in fact, things weren't going so great with the way that our military was going. We were over in Iraq and things like that. And I don't know. My parents just wasn't too fond with their with their child going over there with the way things were going. A war, sort of say. So I was an athlete, played baseball, and I wanted to play college baseball and pursue my dreams, get my bachelor's in aeronautical science. So I decided I wanted to live the college lifestyle and go through those steps, and stay home with my parents, be around my family, and not be out at war. Not that I have anything against war or my country. I love my country, and I would do anything for my country. But it's just at that point in time, I wanted to go to school.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So is there any particular training that people need beforehand? Just a desire?
Just a desire, ambition, and a good mindset. It's a lot of studying. Absolutely. It's definitely a lot of studying.
Now I hear rumors that if you wear glasses, you can't fly.
If it's corrected to 2020, if you have glasses and you have 2020, after that you can. So what you would need to do is you need to go see an FAA, a doctor that's authorized through the FAA to issue you a medical certificate. There's Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. Class 1 is for a commercial pilot and command. If you wanted to go to the airlines, you need a Class 1. And what they do in those tests is make, psychological tests like ink block tests and your standard checkup stuff like blood pressure, make sure your heart is okay, make sure you're healthy. So that's pretty much what they do. They check your vision, your hearing, and, things of that nature.
Wow. So this is serious stuff. So how many black people fly? How many do you know? How many have you seen at your academy?
At my academy, I was honestly the only one at my academy.
I kind of figured. I just wanted to hear you say it.
I was the only one. So definitely, being a minority. And
so you're black and Latino?
Yes.
Okay. So you repping two things.
Absolutely. So I'm pushing even harder for this.
Oh my gosh. So what happens when you tell your friends this is what you're doing? When your friends find out that you were doing this, what did they say?
Well, I usually always get the same facial reaction. They just kind of stop and pause, and they just kind of look at me. No way, this is awesome. Like, are you serious? And or some people call me crazy. You gotta have a special kind of crazy. You don't want to go up in an airplane by yourself. But ultimately, they were all so happy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no one from New Haven is doing anything like this that we can think of. You know, thank you for staying positive and, you know, just having me around is just such a positive influence. That's what they tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just so excited for me.
They have to be excited for you because this is, you know. And then you said, how old? What's the age requirement or restriction?
Well, to get your private pilot license, I believe you have to be, what was it, 16 or older?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to obtain the license.
So you could get
if
a
I'm not
license.
mistaken.
You could get a pilot's license before you get a driver's license.
And there were some cases I heard when I went to go get my medical, the doctor told me, there was a young boy in here. He said he'd never driven a car before, but he's going for his pilot's license. It's pretty funny. It's pretty bizarre when
Like
you think about it.
I could drive a plane. I could fly a plane, but I cannot drive a car.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a misstep. So the school is out there, Tweed. What's the name of it? American?
It was American Flight Academy, and then a new one opened up. It was New England Flight School.
Okay, New England Flight
Yes.
School. Okay.
And it was a situation where, you know, I kept going off and on. My previous instructor got picked up by the airlines.
Okay.
I was so happy for him. You know, it was a bittersweet moment because your instructor that's been with you since day one
Mm-hmm.
knows all your strengths and weaknesses, and then his dream starts coming true, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
his ultimate goal is to go to the airlines. That's usually what happens after you become a flight instructor.
Mm-hmm. So, how much time does it require of study? A lot?
Yes, every day I sit down, I spend at least about 3 hours of
Oh my gosh.
just going over notes before that my instructor brought up, or
Mm-hmm.
going through the pilot's handbook of aeronautical knowledge. There's so many different categories. Everything that I've learned in grade school, middle school, high school, from meteorology, math, aerodynamics, physics, everything comes into play. So it's not like, you know, you ever hear someone in high school say, I don't need to learn this. This doesn't apply to me. I'm not going to use this later on.
And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It shows up.
Mhm. I definitely need to pay attention to everything, but
Were you a good math student?
I was pretty fair student.
Mm-hmm.
If I sit down and practice the problems, of course, I would get the problems. I would understand it and be successful with it.
So what does it do for your social life?
Um,
Do you have a
it's-
social life?
It's very tough. Balancing school.
I know you have a girlfriend.
I do.
And she must be very patient.
very patient. She's extremely supportive of what I do.
Uh-huh.
And I told her the first day we met what my goals were, and she just found it to be awesome.
Okay.
And I'm just so happy that she's a part of it and extremely supportive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As long as she's supportive. As long as she's still Team Will, I'm
No,
good.
definitely team. Yes.
All right. Okay. So, and your parents are behind you. They speak so lovingly about you and your ability.
Yes, I'm very thankful to have them as parents. They're extremely supportive. Any dream or vision that I may have had growing up as a little kid, whether it changed from flying to a certain type of school that I wanted to go to any type of activity or sports event that I wanted to attend, they always did their best to make sure it happened for me.
Mm-hmm.
They would do anything for me.
You got lovely parents.
I do.
I mean, they really are lovely people. So, so how many people in this school, in this flight school? How many in your is it a class? Is it a cohort?
It's once we get together for ground school, it could be about 10 to 12 students in the classroom. But once you're in the plane, it's just you and
It's
your
you.
instructor. It's a lot of individual training as well as group training as well
Okay.
in the classroom.
And so when you're up there flying, how long is your time up in the air?
Average about 2 hours.
Whoa. And so you have to pay attention to everything. Is it challenging?
Of course.
Okay.
I remember going up with my instructor my first time with my hands on the controls, and he gave me control of the airplane, which is just
God.
verbal exchange.
I could not
words.
do it.
Yeah. So some of the things that you have to pay attention to is obviously air traffic control. You have your headset on, you're communicating. That's a big one. You're paying attention to your airspeed indicator, your stall horn, proper bank angle, wind direction,
Mm-hmm.
altitude, any obstacles. Make sure there's no other aircraft in the
Well, that would be
vicinity.
a little challenging to.
It is. It's definitely multitasking, which is one of the things I had trouble with because I'm trying to maintain a certain airspeed, maintain a certain altitude, and my instructors, yelling stuff out at me. The air traffic controllers yelling stuff out at me, and it was a bit overwhelming when I started, but I knew I was
But
gonna
now
get better
you're
at it.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, you seem like the person that I'm gonna get better at this because I'm gonna keep at it. You're a
Ab-
keep at it person.
absolutely. I don't quit.
Yeah,
I've
you're
never
not a
quit.
quitter.
I've never quit anything.
I'll say I need that little motivation today. Thank you for that. Okay, so you're up in the air, you're paying attention, and you've gone up by yourself already. Solo time.
Yes, and I've also done a little 150 nautical mile
Hmm.
solo cross country trip is what they call it.
What?
And
Wait. What?
it's one of the requirements for your private pilot license.
Like you fly across country?
Well, 150 nautical miles.
Okay.
Not literally from like East Coast to West Coast. So
Okay.
I took off from Bridgeport Sikorsky Memorial Airport. I flew directly to Columbia County Airport, which is about 25 miles south of Albany International.
Okay.
Landed there. I fueled up the airplane and, stretched my legs a little bit. And then I flew directly over to Groton, New London Airport.
Mm-hmm.
And then landed, took off, came back home to Bridgeport Airport. It took me about 3 hours to do all that.
Okay. That's some good traveling.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, especially to do it in 3 hours. And if you were to drive from New Haven to
Oh no.
Albany,
Oh Lord.
it'll take a while.
Hours.
Yeah.
I've done that. Huh. All right. So you're doing this flying, and you find it not only your dream, but actually rewarding. Like you enjoy it.
Completely. It's liberating. It's relaxing. Once you get the hang of things and you got everything under control and you're up there cruising at 5,000-6,000 feet, it's just you just look out the window and you get to see things that your everyday people or friends don't get to see.
Mm-hmm.
You see things from a new light, and it's extremely rewarding mentally, and it's just relaxing.
Have you ever taken Can you take your parents up?
Once I get the license, as a student pilot, it is prohibited to take any passengers.
Okay.
But once I obtain the license, I do want to take my parents up as a.
Will they go?
I hope so. No, they'll go. They will go. I look at like, hey, look at what your son is doing.
I can see you from the ground, son.
No.
I can look up and see you, son. I'm good. I'm good with that.
But that's one of my goals. I definitely want to take my parents up.
Okay. And your girlfriend?
She's one of those I'll look at you from the ground
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I'm gonna do my best to bring her up with me.
Maybe a ring might get her up there. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm not suggesting that either because you're young. So take your time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how far along are you from the license?
I'd have to take my written test.
Mm-hmm.
I have all my requirements fulfilled, and I am proficient in the areas that need be.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I take my written test, I'm doing some check ride preparations, which is the final test,
Okay.
where an FAA examiner will get into the plane, almost like when you go to the DMV,
Mm-hmm.
and the gentleman gets in or woman gets in the car with you, and you go through your safety checks and you drive around and you get your license. Think about that, but up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going through a whole bunch of different scenarios. Like they'll intentionally try to get you lost, and you have to be able to
Find your way.
find your way back.
I don't want that
safely.
job either.
But it's pretty awesome, and it's a whole
want
bunch
that
of
job.
emergency procedures and stuff like that. And then you go back and land, and they'll shake your hand, let you know if you passed or
Okay.
failed or anything like that.
So tell me about the emergency procedures. That's part of your training, right?
Yes. Let's say if you got smoke in the cockpit, there's a certain procedure and you have to always follow the checklist. The
Mhm.
checklist is pretty much your best friend because trying to remember all this stuff off the top of your head, you can get yourself into more trouble than being safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's say if you're cruising, let's say 5,000 feet, and you notice some smoke in the cockpit or you smell something burning, you contact air traffic control. You have to pitch for a certain airspeed, open your cabin air vents, which will suffocate the fire, but you're descending rapidly. So the air from the outside will go into the engine. It'll put the fire out if there was a fire. And hopefully you're next to an airport where you can land. If not, you have to choose a suitable area, like a small field, or if need be, I'm pretty sure you've heard of small airplanes landing on the road
Yes.
or something, or
And
highway.
we've seen those, and they're
Mhm.
always so like, wow, like, wow.
That takes so much focus and
Ugh.
training, and that's why it's very good to have a good relationship with your instructor and know the airplane, know every part of the airplane, how it runs, if something
Mhm.
fails, what's affected by it, and so on and so forth.
Okay. So when do you think you're gonna take this test?
I plan to take the test before the end of before this month is out.
Oh,
Actually,
really?
the written test, yes,
Uh-huh.
it's about 60 questions, and pass is about 70 or above, which I'm shooting in the 90 range.
Okay.
So I've been studying through this app I have on my phone. It's a Dauntless app. It's about 1,000 questions for the question bank.
Oh my God.
Every possible category from aircraft performance to weather, meteorology, rules and regulations.
Do you feel ready?
I feel like I'm ready. I'm pretty confident with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So after you take this test, do you have to take another test, the bigger test,
Yeah,
or
the actual flight test.
the actual flight test? And so that means what?
The actual flight test is the practical test. It's the hands-on test.
So you get in the plane
Yep.
and you gotta go wherever did they tell you someplace to go or give you some coordinates?
Well, about 24 to 48 hours before, the examiner will give you a call, and he'll give you a intended route. So you open up your map, you do some math, and you figure out what route you want to take.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually to an uncontrolled airport like Meriden. Excuse me. And like I said, he'll try to get you lost, or he might divert and say, when you get halfway there, hey, turn this heading and go to this airport instead. He'll try to throw you off and get you all flustered just to see how you react to certain situations.
But you're ready for that too.
I'm ready because I'm a person, I don't really freak out or...
Me either. I don't freak out either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how people get all...
Yeah.
Not me. I
So,
stay calm.
I'll probably just say, okay, I'll smile and just
I
do
got
it.
this.
I'll just do it because I'm ready for it and I know what to expect.
I love this. I think this is so interesting. It's expensive, but it's interesting. All right, so after you get all of this done, you get your first license, your private license.
Yes.
And that means you can do what?
I'll be able to... I go to a little airport. I can rent a single engine plane. That's what I'll be rated to fly.
And how much does that cost?
It's almost the same price as training. It's about, with fuel, it's about $150, $200 per flight hour.
Okay.
So it is pretty expensive. So I will be able to take up friends and family or anybody that would like to tag along with me and go to, let's say, Block Island, or I'll be able to travel pretty much anywhere.
You might be my go-to guy. Can you get me to Martha's Vineyard?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I might have you do that.
I want to take a trip up to fly over Niagara Falls. Is one of the things on my bucket list that I would like to do when I get my license.
I'm not doing that with you, Will, but
No? And fly up to northern Provincetown and Cape Cod.
See, you're opening up a whole kind of thing, a whole thing. So, do you ever want to own your own plane?
I would love to. Honestly, it's about the same price as buying a brand new car. Say 30,000 all the way and up.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Okay.
And insurance is about, I would say, $1,000 for the year, depending on your insurance plan.
Really?
But a lot of people don't know that you can go and buy a smaller single-engine plane and base it at the airport. You tie it down, you fuel it up, and you get up in the morning and you just go wherever you would like.
Wow.
If I went to take a trip to Bimini or Nassau or just fly around the Florida Keys or something, you'd be able to do so.
Wow. I kind of dig that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And so, do you keep up with safety? Safety, like we always hear about plane crashes and individual plane crashes.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, so many people fly. Like, there's so many flights that when you think about the number of crashes, it's small and compared to how many people actually do fly.
Right.
At least that's how I understood it.
Yeah. Actually, safe flying is statistically proven way safer than driving on the highway, taking your ordinary road trip. But the air traffic controllers do a great job keeping separation between planes.
Mm-hmm.
And there also is stuff like preventative maintenance. That's what you just spoke about. It's extremely important. If you notice something wrong with your airplane, take it to maintenance and get it fixed. It'll be test flown and make sure everything's right. But the other part of it is pilot error. They get themselves in situations where it's extremely hard to get out of, like certain stalls. You're not, you relax, you kick back, you flip on the autopilot, and some people rely very heavily on the autopilot
Mm-hmm.
instead of stick and rudder manually flying the airplane. So if you rely too heavily on autopilot, your skills of flying the airplane will be rusty,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get yourself into a situation that you may not be able to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
if
But
you're-
you
if you're
like
not
you
careful.
actually like the manual stuff.
I like it. The older analog style cockpit with all the gauges and yeah, you
Like
look
we
at
see
it,
in the movies,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. It was a bit overwhelming at first, but once you understand what they do and how they work,
Mhm.
it's incredible.
Okay, so after you do all this, so what is the bigger dream?
The bigger dream is to fly for an airline.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to fly for one of the big boys like American Airlines,
Mm-hmm.
flying the 737 or their Dreamliner 787, the wide body jets.
Wow.
It's just a dream that I had for a long time, and I'm doing everything I can to, work towards it. I'm gonna get there.
Oh, listen, I have no doubt whatsoever. I have no doubt whatsoever. All right, so how do you go about making that dream happen?
It's being persistent. I've talked to many pilots at my job because I'm also a line service technician at Tweed Airport, and I get to talk
So
to.
you work there too.
I do work there also.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are there any other black people out there working at Tweed?
On the other side for American Airlines,
Mhm.
there are. On
Okay.
my side, there aren't. I'm the only one over there.
Okay.
So
And I'm sorry, what do you do for them?
I'm a line service technician, so it's the people that you see with the yellow wands waving at the planes and but it's for the corporate jet, so it's a little more personal. You get
Okay.
to actually greet the passengers.
Mm-hmm.
You're the face of your company when you're out there. You look professional. Everything like that. You deal with their luggage. It's all the CEOs and
Mm-hmm.
all big bosses for
Mm-hmm.
corporate organizations that fly their private jets through there.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I love getting up every morning. My day starts at 4 a.m. and
Oh.
I enjoy going to work every day.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So-
Well, you're working where you want to work. I mean, you're working around the energy and the things that you want to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this to have started at this exact airport since I was 8 years old, and for me to be doing this at the exact same airport, it's awesome.
How did you get this job?
When I was at the flight school, I was at that airport at Tweed,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw these planes, and I said, you know what? Let me go over there and see if they're hiring, or
Really?
basically beg them for a job.
That's so cool.
and
But this is what we tell our young people to do all the time.
yes,
Like, you got to get some courage and go and like ask and inquire and be persistent.
yep, that's right.
That's pretty cool.
And there's a woman, Miss Serena. I interned for her for LCI. She did help me out also.
Mm-hmm.
For LCI, she did help me out with
Livable
making-
Cities Initiative.
Yes, Livable City Initiative. She did help me out with the networking and giving me the proper resources to help me get my foot in the door over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I love every bit of it. It's such an awesome job. You get to meet awesome people, and like I was saying before, I get to hear all the pilot stories. I always ask them, "How'd you do it? What school did you go to? What difficulties did you encounter? What was the hardest part of your journey?"
Uh-huh.
And I take their advice and listen to their stories, and I try to, create my own way with their advice.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
All right, so you're out there, you're working, you're doing. How long have you been working there?
It'll be about 2.5 years in November.
Okay, so that's good. So this steady work. They pay
Yes.
well. I hope they do.
It's pretty good.
And you get there what time do you get off?
About 3:30 in the afternoon.
Ooh, that's a long day.
It is. And if they need me after, because it'll get busy during the evening
Mhm.
time, I'll stay and help out.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's
It's because I'm around the airplanes. Honestly, I
Yeah,
really enjoy
you
what I'm doing.
enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you get to meet the pilots and talk to them and
yeah.
all the people. And have they been helpful?
They have. They've given me tips for flying, um, good flight schools to go to, possible career opportunities. Some of
Mm-hmm.
them have said, "Hey, if you reach this amount of hours, here's my card. Give me a call, and we'll try to get you in."
Wow.
So I've been establishing some pretty good connection and friendships
Oh, that's
with
wonderful.
some of the pilots.
You're gonna be a pilot. I mean, you're so young. You'll be a pilot, and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm ready to retire.
Yeah, I believe they retire. Believe they raised the retirement to 65
Uh-huh.
years old.
Okay.
So I have a pretty long career
So you
ahead.
you could have a long career.
Yes.
I get on the plane and be like, is that Will Nieves? It's like, is that Will Nieves flying me to London?
That's awesome.
I like that. I like that. So you're gonna take this test. You have your dream set. How do you have your downtime? Like, what do you do for downtime? How does Will take care of? How do you have a good time? What does that look like? Because you seem like you're doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of studying.
Yeah, 7 days a week, I'm doing something related to work or my schooling, flying.
Mm-hmm.
So it is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
I know your parents threw your birthday party.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to come.
it's okay. It'll be at the next one. Definitely be at the next one.
But I was so happy that they was doing that. So,
But balancing the social life, it's
I mean,
tough,
do you have
honestly.
time for friends? I mean, you must.
I do for a couple hours, usually on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
We go out and probably go out to eat or something like that, or watch TV or play the games with my cousin and stuff like that. But aside from that, it's back to work the next week. But I know it's a congested schedule, but it's doing something that I enjoy. So
Mm-hmm. So people are going to be listening to the show. So you could schools could conceivably steer children or steer kids, school age kids, high school students toward flying. I don't know if it's on anybody's radar, but they could.
they could. And growing up in New Haven, I didn't even know this opportunity existed at our local airport, Tweed, New Haven. I didn't know which direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish that it was, more. I wish they let the kids know
Mm-hmm.
that this is a dream that can actually be achieved. So a thing, because most kids don't even know that they can become a pilot. They don't know how, or even they may want to, but not know which direction they should go in.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been talking to some kids, letting them know how they can get involved into it, like starting out with the introductory flight to make sure that they won't like to.
Yeah, so they don't throw up or
Yeah.
faint.
But I do strongly encourage schools in any way to get kids that want to become a pilot to become a pilot. And
Mhm.
even if you're not interested in it, just give it a try. I guarantee your mind will change towards it.
I like that. So, have you been back to talk to students at Hyde?
They actually recently just closed the school down. But
Did they? Were they
they
one of the
did.
ones that got closed?
Yes, they changed the name to Creed, Hyde Creed.
Oh.
It was extremely it was sad. I wish that school hadn't closed
Because
down.
that was your school.
That was my school. The name of it when I first attended was Hyde Leadership. And
Yes. I remember it was so promising. Had such promise, and
Yes.
people had said good things about it.
if it wasn't for that school, they've taught me so much,
Mm-hmm.
character wise, and the kind of person that I am today. Being humble, going out and taking positive risks, and they taught me how to overcome certain fears I had of, like, let's say, talking in front of large crowds of people and public speaking. And
Being on the radio.
yes, being on the radio. I've never been on the radio before.
You're doing beautifully.
It's a pretty cool experience for me.
This is my cockpit.
Yep,
This is what
yep.
I do.
But Hyde Leadership, they've taught me so much, and I definitely tip my hat to them, and I'll thank every single staff member from that school.
How many
'Cause
people
they-
graduated with you when you came out?
It was about, I believe the class size was about 40.
Mm-hmm.
It was a small class size. It was only about 220 students in the school.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone, it was truly amazing. I wish that school hadn't been closed down.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to feel that way, but these are difficult times and difficult decisions had to be made. I'm not defending or supporting any of the decisions. I just understand how challenging it can be when you have fiscal stress, when you're trying to figure out where money's going to come from to sort of continue the innovative things that you want to do. So,
Right.
But yeah, well, it's a little bittersweet, I guess. Do you still stay in touch with folks from
through social media, Facebook
Okay.
and Instagram?
So people are not lost to you.
They're not lost. No.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool to see the directions that everybody goes in, college or a certain trade or something like that. It's pretty cool to see everyone staying positive and doing what they got to do.
Oh, I can imagine. And then you're like, oh, I'm in flight school.
Yeah. I don't say it as like throw it in anybody's face. It's just I just have different goals than everybody else.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
I don't. You don't strike me as a bragging kind of guy.
No, not at all.
You seem very humble.
My parents taught me that at a young age.
I know your father, so I could. Yeah. I know he's not a bragging kind of guy, so I can imagine that he would not raise a child to be that way.
Absolutely. They did an awesome job.
Do you think your siblings are following your footsteps? Because you have a sister?
I have 2 older sisters, an older brother, and a younger brother.
Are they interested, any of them?
Not in flying. They all are on their own career paths.
Mm-hmm.
My first oldest sister, she's a veterinarian. My second oldest sister, she's on her way to be a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
My older brother owns part of the Chili's Corporation down in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And my younger brother, he's still trying to find what he wants to do exactly.
How old is he?
He's 21.
Okay. So he's just behind you.
Yeah, he's just behind me. But he was interested in the medical field also and archaeology and stuff like that. He's trying to figure out exactly which direction he wants to go in, but he does have a bright career ahead of him. With whatever he wants to do, I'm going to support him.
Oh, that's nice. That's lovely. So you're the only pilot in the house.
Yes. And I am going to try to get them all to come fly with me. But
I want to see that family picture.
Yeah. It'll be a good one.
I think it'll be fine. I think they will all want to do it because they all want to support you,
Yeah.
All right, so we're about to break camp in a few minutes, but what keeps you motivated?
Honestly, my job, being around the airplanes all day, every day, just knowing what opportunities are out there for me. You got to stay focused. You're going to encounter a lot of bumps along the road. And it's a really tough mental game that you have to, stay on top of with yourself. I just got to look up at the sky when I see an airplane going overhead and like, hey, that's going to be me.
Mm-hmm.
So all this time I spent away from my friends that I can't go out. Excuse me. I just got to stay focused and remember that.
I mean, you got to get up at 4 o'clock. You got to be at work at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And that's a challenge in itself, honestly.
I'm like, wow.
But there's some doors that's gonna open. All the baby boomer pilots that were born back then, that they're all retiring now. So
people like me,
they're all retiring, and I believe the retirement rate might be about 60 to 70%.
So they're going to need pilots.
Absolutely,
they're going to need pilots, and they're going to need a lot of them.
The demand, I believe, is in the 6 figures for a number of pilots in America alone.
Wow.
So
that's huge.
There's a great window of opportunity.
Yes, there is a great window of opportunity. So when you look for when you start to look for the jobs in these commercial, what do they require?
They require a Class 1 medical, so to make sure you're healthy enough to fly at 40,000 feet and that your body won't just naturally pass out.
Jesus.
And let me see.
I know it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Like, what?
People have.
I know people do.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
They can just fall asleep while having a conversation, or they want to make sure you get enough oxygen to your brain. And they just want to make sure you're healthy, and because you are carrying 180 passengers behind you.
Yes.
And
so now, uh, is there more schooling to get to the commercial level?
There is. I actually, American Airlines just opened up a cadet program around April.
Mm-hmm.
One day I was scrolling through Facebook and I did see their link. One night before going to bed, I created a profile and sat down and did the essay questions, and I did an assessment test and a questionnaire,
Mm-hmm.
just to see what would happen, because I honestly dreamed of a program that to start something like this, and it was just so happened to be the largest and most successful airline, American Airlines. So I did it just to see what would happen, hoping that I be able to attend this program. About a week later, I received an email saying that I moved on to the next selection
Mm-hmm.
process for their academy, and they wanted me to do a sit-down interview, video interview, with them. So I did that, and they sent me an email saying, "Congratulations, you've moved on to the next part," and they wanted to fly me down to Dallas, Fort Worth, in Texas, to do face-to-face interviews and some testing, pilot aptitude testing. But I was recently on vacation with my family in Las Vegas, and they flew me from Vegas to Dallas. It was a 2-day process. They put me in a hotel.
Nice.
It was awesome. And when I got there, I was expecting to see hundreds of people, but there was only 8 of us.
Whoa.
And they said, "Hey, look out that window out there and picture 2,800 or 3,000 people waving their resumes, but we selected you 8." And it was just I was mind blown. I was like,
Mhm.
wow.
That's
Out of that
wow.
many applications, they selected 8 people,
Mm.
and I was one of those 8. So it was just it was awesome.
That's amazing.
But yeah, after I sat down for about a 3.5 hour test. It was you can compare it almost to like the SATs
Oh
kind of thing like
God,
that.
Lord have mercy. And so you did it, and I know you probably did very well.
Yes, I did. And they have this program with the loan and everything like that. It's
Mhm.
about $98,000 to attend the program.
What?
Yes.
That is college that is college tuition money.
But this
4
program,
years.
this is American Airlines that's
Mhm.
teaching you how to fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much you go to school for them and you graduate, you remain in good standing,
And they hire you.
and they hire you as a first officer
Okay.
after their schooling. It's an 18-month program, and
That's a lot of money.
it is a lot of money, but it's an investment.
Does other airlines do this? Like, are there other opportunities like this?
I know JetBlue does something similar,
Mm-hmm.
but American came out and they're the first to actually do this type of program with the whole loan, and they teach you and then they'll hire you right after type of deal.
Okay.
So
So is that on the agenda?
it is. They actually accepted me into the program,
Okay.
but I wasn't able to get the financial loan for the $98,000 to attend the program, which it was, like I said earlier, it's gonna be those bumps along the road.
Yep. Just got to pivot, go in a different direction.
Go in a different direction, but I would love the opportunity to fly for American Airlines, and to be accepted into that program was
Mhm.
it was an honor out of this many people that are in the country.
Mm.
So
Well, I've enjoyed this conversation, Will, because I think I just hadn't met anybody with this kind of, I don't know, just so focused, and to be a pilot and to be so young and so determined, It's so it just renews my faith in young people, achieving their goals. So.
definitely, I am proud to be where I'm from, in New Haven, and I want to show everybody that some things positive can in fact come out of this city.
Yes. Yeah, lots of positive people come out of this city. Lots and
Absolutely.
lots and lots and lots. And not just through Yale.
Yeah, definitely.
Not just through Yale.
Not just through Yale.
So, so that's a wonderful thing. Well, thank you for spending your time, because I know is this your day off?
Today is my day off.
Yeah,
actually,
see, and
yes.
you could be sleeping. You're here talking to me. I appreciate that. So it was very nice to have you
Thank
on
you for
today.
having me. I do appreciate
And
it.
I know your parents will come back and listen to this when they can. So, hey, Bill. Hey, Anna. Shout out to Moyes. All right. Well, thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you so
And
much
good
for
luck
having
to
me.
you.
I appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right.